Welcome to the show, everybody. For the live audience, this is way too late, and that's on me. The wifey had to use the studio yesterday for a little conference call for work, and I had to rearrange everything, so Miss Scusi. Jim Hyden's produced the program. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer, Steven Singer Jewelers. Ladies and gentlemen, that was an incredible 76ers win last night. Like many of you, I was watching the game. I was thinking this is an all-star hangover. That crap-tastic crap practice that Doc Rivers talked about, and we mentioned on the show yesterday, was bleeding into that game, especially in the first half. We'll go over the numbers of the first half, and not only the first half, and the second half versus each other, but also the final 90 seconds of the game where the Sixers simply dominated, including Joel Embiid. And I'll get this going right out of the gate. How about this stop on Ja Morant last night, fellow all-star? If he makes this dunk, you're down 3 with about a minute 20 left to go in the game. He did not make the dunk. Joel Embiid dominated him, and we'll show you the highlight from that coming up in just a second. But Sixers played phenomenal down the stretch to somehow magically erase the terrible start they had. Well, I'd say terrible 3 quarters they had to this game. If it wasn't for the way James Harden was playing in the early goings of this game, they would have been able to sniff a lead in that fourth quarter. We'll also get into the Phillies. Dave Dombrowski addressed the media yesterday, had some encouraging things to say about Bryce Harper, as did Rob Thompson. We'll get into that conversation a little bit later in the show. And of course, as normal, our chat check and all good things that we'll get into coming up a little bit later in the program. How about this? If you missed it, this is, what do the kids say? This is how it started versus how it's going. Here's how it started for the Sixers. Now, I couldn't help myself. While I'm watching the game last night, I took this horrible picture of my TV. So please pardon the fact that it's crooked. And I'm watching this game, and I'm going, you know what? If they win this game, it's going to be the tale of two halves. So let me just at least commit to memory here. Take this picture of what their stats were at halftime. Now, keep in mind the stats here. With the Sixers shooting 31%, an abysmal 31% from the floor. They trailed by 12 points at the half. Conversely, the Memphis Grizzlies were shooting 46% from the field. The three-point percentage was pretty good on the Sixers' part, as it was for the Grizzlies. But then you keep on going down this list. Free throws, the Sixers weren't getting to the line that much. Points in the paint, they were actually losing that battle, which is crazy with Joel Embiid, who was playing sick and also tired and still has the foot injury, although he really was busting his ass in that All-Star game, which is nice. So the Sixers were not playing a good brand of basketball in this, to say the absolute least. Now, I show you that to also tell you that at that time, at halftime, Joel Embiid was 2 for 14 from the floor. 12 shots were a career high for shots missed in a half by the big man. So Joel Embiid was struggling. I mean, he could not throw the ball into a hula hoop, let alone a basketball hoop yesterday. It was awful. And it was like all the moves were there. It was like he looked like himself. He just couldn't connect on anything. And then the final 90 seconds. So you saw those numbers. How about these numbers? The final 90 seconds of the game. Now, these are from Scott Van Pelt. The other ones I showed you were from that other thing, the TNT broadcast. But this is from SVP last night on SVP Sports Center. Final 90 seconds of the game. Sixers outscored the Grizzlies 10-1. They're 3 for 4 from beyond the arc, including 2 for 2. Excuse me, they're 3 for 4 from the field, including 2 for 2 from beyond the arc, and their field goal percentage was 75%. So let's just do this one more time. Boom. Here's the first half, 31%. Final 90 seconds, 75%. They turned it on. Credit to James Harden, who was just unbelievable at that point in the game, and Tobias Harris, who I want to say it was about 4 minutes left in the game. Joel Embiid gets a big block. They go down another big block, by the way. They go down the other end. They dish it to Tobias Harris, who kills, at the time I thought, killed all momentum by airballing a three. I still consider it an air ball, even if it hits only the outside of the net, the bottom of the outside bottom of the net. Is that how you say that? It was like all the air went out of the balloon. I said there's no way. There's no way they win this game now. That was the play. Everything the Sixers are trying to do to get back in this game, there'd be something that would happen the other end. If they actually hit a big three, you know what happened? The Grizzlies come down, they get a big and one, or they hit a big three. They'd get a play to swing momentum back in their favor. And that was until this moment from Joel Embiid. And credit to the NBA and their Twitter account for putting this together. Here is every angle of Joel Embiid's huge block on Ja Morant last night in the game that basically clinched momentum for the Sixers. If Ja Morant makes this and he slams it home, then with 1:12 left in the game, the 76ers go down 3 points. So it was a huge block by Joel Embiid. Here it is from every angle, thanks to our friends at NBA.
It's Durant exploding, going up, met in mid-flight by Embiid, picked up by Tillman.
From that point, it did not feel like the Sixers were going to lose that game. Not even a little bit. It felt like they were going to dominate from that point on, and that's exactly what they did. It took a while for them to kick the dust off, a lot of them, those that weren't at the All-Star game, and Joel Embiid, who was at the All-Star game and played well at the All-Star game. Certainly an MVP conversation of the All-Star game if, Jason Tatum doesn't go off for 55 points. And Embiid's squad wins. That also didn't help either. But as a team, they just came together in that second half to just go to new heights. They trailed by as many as 17 points in that game, and they kept on fighting. And my narrative throughout this entire process, by the way, throughout this entire the All-Star break, I should say, to be more specific, was show me something here in the last 26 games of the season. Show me something here. Throughout that first half, I'm thinking, well, this is not the good start. They have the hardest schedule in the NBA going forward. Strongest strength of schedule going forward. This is not how you started off. I respect the Memphis Grizzlies. They're not some scrub team. It's not like the Sixers are playing down to their opponent. They were just playing terrible basketball. James Harden, though, was solid throughout this game. You had Tyrese Maxey playing great throughout this game, trying to get his team back into the swing of things. Talked during an in-game interview about how they needed to step up their defense, and they certainly seemed like they did that. At least Joel Embiid did in the second half. And they just pulled together. They fought through everything. You had a good challenge from Doc Rivers that he won late in this game, which was great. You had a play that the ball went off of a Memphis Grizzlies foot, and unfortunately it was lost. It was a turnover. They decided not to challenge it, unfortunately, and ended up staying there, or ended up going the other direction when it shouldn't have. There was a couple of missed calls there late on the Sixers, but hey, that all balances out. And then there was the technical foul on George Niang, who just couldn't help himself at that point in the game. But they just kept fighting. And all I want the Sixers to do in the final 26 games, now 25, is show me that I can have confidence that the Sixers fan base, that you, the Sixers fan, can have confidence that they will make it out of the second round of the playoffs. That was at least a good start because they overcame a lot in that basketball game. They overcame Bane raining down from three early in that game, just couldn't be stopped, I believe was the call during the game. And then in that second half, they handled their business. And most notably, they found a way to win. And I talk about it all the time in every single sport, whether it's the Phillies or whatever it might be. The good teams find a way to win. After the Eagles beat the Cardinals in Arizona, they found a way to win. After the Eagles beat the Colts, they found a way to win. Good teams find ways to win games. And that's exactly what the Sixers did last night, despite a horrible, it's not even a tough start. It's not even just a tough first half. The tough 3.5 quarters of basketball of playing straight ass. They came out and dominated when they needed to. And there would be times when they'd be inching back in this game, and I was mentioning they'd hit a big three, whether it was Tobias Harris or whoever. And you know what they did? the Memphis Grizzlies would start swinging momentum back in their direction, where the Sixers would then just try to take it back and inch back and inch back. They'd close it. They'd get to within 15. They get to within 10. Next thing you know, they're down 11. And they get to back within 6, and then down 10 again. Then they get it back within 3, and then they're down 6 again. And then they'd be back within 1 or 2, and then Tobias Harris hits a 3 that puts you in front for good. 3 corner threes by my count. At least 2 huge corner. Well, Tobias Harris hit one with about 3:30 left in the game. Then he had an air ball. Then James Harden had an incredible step back 3 in the corner. And then Tobias Harris followed it up with corner 3 to take the lead for good in this game. Credit to the Sixers, kept on fighting. After the game, Doc Rivers talked about how this was like a chippy win for the Sixers. You call it whatever you want. It was a chippy win, chippy game. Call it whatever you want. Your team found a way. And one of the things that really bothered me in that first half was TNT had Doc Rivers mic'd up for one of their timeouts. And it seems like a broken record this year. Like, I don't know if Doc got the memo that he can no longer say this was a scheduled loss or something like that. But one thing I'd really like to stop hearing from Doc Rivers is how his team is getting outplayed so consistently. Like, after every loss, you hear Doc Rivers talk about how his team got outplayed. Well, they wanted it more. Like last night, if Memphis Grizzlies would have held on, Doc Rivers would have said something to the effect of, Grizzlies just wanted it more. Because during that first half, when they had him mic'd up and everyone was all huddled up there on the bench, Doc Rivers, they captured him saying, they just want it more. They're outworking you. They're getting every loose ball. They're hitting every shot. They're doing everything that you guys should be doing, but you're not doing. And it's like, at what point, Doc, do you look at yourself and you say, I'm not motivating these guys properly? At what point? Because if this team is talented enough, that means that the coach isn't doing his job and getting the best out of these players. And I know the common retort to that or rebuttal to that argument is, well, it's not Doc Rivers going out there and shooting the basketball. Yeah, okay, fine. But you could also look at another sport like baseball and say, well, it wasn't Joe Girardi going up there to the plate and hit the baseball. Somehow Rod Thompson found a way to get these guys to play their best brand of baseball. Well, now the same thing's got to happen in basketball. Doc Rivers, I don't know what he did in that third quarter. I don't know what towards the end of that third quarter. I don't know what he did in the final 90 seconds of that game against the Grizzlies last night. But whatever it was, he got the best out of his players, finally. And yes, it makes it a lot easier when your guys are starting to hit those corner threes. No doubt about that. But very encouraging when you think about the fact that during this stretch, in the toughest schedule in the NBA, 26 games, 1-0. Sixers are 1-0 to start it out, and hopefully they keep that going. As for the numbers, James Harden finished with 31, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. Joel Embiid, 27 points, despite the abysmal start to this game. Ended up being 13 for 17 from the free throw line. 19 rebounds, 27 and 19 for the big man last night. And Tobias Harris, thanks to 4 threes hit, in large part thanks to that, came away with 20 points. Tyrese Maxey off the bench, 16 points for you in 37 minutes played. Great to see that. Final score of the game, in case you didn't see it, 110-105. Sixers get that victory. They're back at it tomorrow night. Huge game against the Boston Celtics. 8:30 on ABC. Can't wait to watch that game. Celtics struggled in an overtime victory last night over Indiana. It was a wild one. So while the Sixers were struggling against Memphis, a formidable opponent, the Celtics were struggling against a team that is not that good in the Indiana Pacers. I just can't help myself, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at this. Just that right there, a defining moment for Joel Embiid and the Sixers. And it came on the defensive end of things, something we have missed greatly. And I don't know if this Sixers team, even last year at this time, wins this game. I don't know if they do. But here's what I do know. This team, for playing together as long as they have now, 2 years, essentially. The only difference, PJ Tucker in the starting lineup. You also have DeAnthony Melton, but those guys have been with this team all year. One of the things that I did like about the McDaniels trade at the trade deadline was the fact that it wasn't like a huge overhaul to this lineup. It wasn't something that the Sixers really had to get used to. These guys playing together for as long as they have now, mostly, a full year, basically, 25 games left now. But last night, these guys showed how familiar they were with one another. And I felt that came apparent when you had Tobias Harris open in the corners many times. You had James Harden creating great spacing as the point guard. You had Tyrese Maxey as a great spark off the bench for this team, especially in that third quarter. And then you had Joel Embiid just muster up that kind of performance in the fourth quarter that you needed them to. So huge game for the Sixers last night or tomorrow night when they take on the Indiana Pacers. The Boston Celtics, who just beat the Pacers last night in overtime, 142-38. So we'll see how that game shakes out. Let me get right now into the baseball world and see how this is going down here, because Dave Dombrowski addressed the media yesterday, and there was a bunch of things that Dave got into. Rhys Hoskins was one of them. This is an interesting thing, because I've referenced Dave Dombrowski's end-of-the-year press conference a number of times already on this week. And one of the things he got into was how Rhys Hoskins was getting a contract. It doesn't seem like Rhys Hoskins is getting a contract. I was reading Todd Zalecki's article about it earlier today, and he broke down all the things that Dave Dombrowski went over. And the term Todd Zalecki used was not dug in. Neither side seems to be digging in on a contract extension from Rhys Hoskins. Here's why I believe that is. Derek Hall. Derek Hall has not been able to hit both lefties and righties. He has certainly had his struggles there. He definitely has great power numbers, but when it comes to lefties, forget about it. It's not happening. When it comes to everything else, okay, yeah, he shows a lot of promise. I believe the Phillies are waiting to see how Derek Hall progresses this year, and then they'll make a decision about Rhys Hoskins. And I know Rhys Hoskins is for whatever reason, there's no pun on Rhys Lightning, but he is a lightning rod for a lot of people in Philadelphia. And I know the number one thing people jump to is that he is overrated. I don't know of anyone else who is more appropriately rated than Rhys Hoskins. He has really big moments, and he also has really bad moments. He has really big home runs, and he's had bad errors at first base. Like I think everyone knows what Rhys Hoskins is. He's not great. He's not terrible. He just goes up and down the spectrum dramatically. And then I guess that leads people to believe during the high moments, his fans, see, he's great. He's awesome. And then the guys that hate him, I see that error at first base. He's terrible. See that strikeout. He's awful. It's just that there's very little in the middle with Rhys Hoskins. He's either hot as hell or cold as ice. That's the way Rhys Hoskins has kind of been in his career in Philadelphia. And I know people want to talk about 18 home runs and all that stuff starting out his career and how incredible that was, because it was amazing. And that kind of set the bar. Oh, man, this guy's Babe Ruth. Nobody says he's Babe Ruth. Nobody says, he's picking it in first base like Don Mattingly or anything like that. I think it's very appropriately, he's a wildly streaky baseball player. Even in a game where he might hit you a huge home run in the seventh inning that puts you up 3 or whatever, he's going to make an error in the eighth inning that makes you go, see, this is the guy I told you about. Yeah. But anyway, I believe the Phillies right now are of that opinion when it comes to Rhys. They like the guy. They raised him as an organization, even though David Dombrowski wasn't here for the majority of his maturity or maturation process. He's still a Phillies homegrown guy. They're waiting to see what they got in Derek Hall. And after that, they might go out there and see what else they can get at the first base position. But right now, you look around, there's not that much better than you can do with Rhys Hoskins when it comes to either the glove or it comes to the bat. They're going to ride it out when it comes to his streakiness and see how it goes. But right now, they're not digging in because they want to see what they have in Derek Hall. They also might want to see what they have as another option at third base with Alec Boehm going over to first base. Maybe. Just an idea. So that's where they're at right now. And then the big news here, and I want to get to this because this is from our friend Scott Larber, by the way. We talked a lot about his article yesterday. Scott Larber was talking about how Dave Dombrowski, when he was addressing the media, he said that Bryce Harper has been cleared for, and I've never heard this term, dry swinging. Okay? That means no contact with the ball. And he's due to arrive in Clearwater March 8th or 9th-ish, according to Dave Dombrowski. That's Scott Larber of Inky.com. And then Todd Zlecki printed this in his article. Check it out on MLB.com as well. This is from Rob Thompson about Bryce Harper. You could say he's a little bit ahead. And then here comes the buzzkill. But oftentimes we say that about players, and all of a sudden you have a setback. Well, geez, Philly Rob, why don't we calm it down a little bit? Rob Thompson, I'm just knocking on wood. We're just going to make sure we are careful with how we keep progressing with him. We got a way to go. I'm going to do the Nick Sirianni thing and not knock on wood because there's no control over the actual outcome. I would not be shocked at all if Bryce Harper is playing for this team before the All-Star break. But here's what I hope. I hope that this team, and I believe they will be, in a position to not need him before the All-Star break. I would love to see Bryce Harper start on the opening day lineup. I'd love to see it happen. It's obviously not happening. Yes, I would love to see Bryce Harper back as soon as humanly possible. But if another week just kind of helps things set back into place, another couple weeks, whatever it might be, I hope the Phillies are at a point where they don't have to bang down the door for Bryce Harper, and I'll steal this word again from Ruben Amaro Jr. because it's all in my brain. Bryce Harper won't have to be the savior of this franchise around the All-Star break. If he's got to take that time, I want the Phillies to be in a position where they don't need Bryce Harper behind the glass, and then all of a sudden the emergency happens and they break the glass, and Bryce Harper has to come out and play savior. I hope that's the place that they're in. I hope that's not the place that they're in. As much as I want to see Bryce Harper play, as much as I love watching Bryce Harper play, I hope that's not the situation that we have to have around the All-Star break. I'd love for him to come back before, where all signs are pointing to, oh, man, this is incredible. The man is a freak of nature with how fast he healed. This guy heals at almost the pace of Jalen Hurts. This is incredible. As much as I want to see that, okay, just let's pump the brakes. And let's be a little cautious with what Bryce Harper could be doing with his return. Dry swinging, though, folks. Dry swinging. I hope your weekend is full of some dry swinging. Put the upside-down pineapple out and just, some dry swinging. Just dry swinging, guys. Just dry swinging. Hi, I'm here for the... All right, anyway. That's enough of that. Come on, it's a family show. It's a family show. It's a family show. So that's what we got on Philly spring training. And it happened again yesterday while I was watching, the live batting practice. I was watching the calisthenics and all that stuff they do all the time. And that I haven't seen too much of that. Maybe we've gotten over that as a society, but that used to always get me excited for spring training. But it happened again yesterday where I was just going through the roster and I was listening to Dave Dombrowski and I'm seeing the stuff about Derek Hall, seeing the stuff about Rhys Hoskins, getting the news update on Bryce Harper and what could be the next thing for him and his training regimen. And hopefully it's wet swinging. I don't know. But whatever it might be, there's definitely this feeling in the air that the Phillies, hopefully the Sixers, but definitely the Phillies, something special is going to happen again this year. And it started, I think, with the Phillies and their incredible run under Rob Thompson last year and being able to make it to the World Series. And then that vibe continued right after the Phillies season ended after the World Series with the Eagles being as dominant as they were. And then the Eagles go out there and they make it to a Super Bowl. And it's the perfect continuation of a good vibe. And yes, it didn't end well, and the vibe was killed by championship losses. But now you're getting back into it. And the fact that you're starting out with some new faces, like Trey Turner, for instance, the fact that you have Taijuan Walker, I think I called him Julio Tehran yesterday. Sorry. Taijuan Walker in your starting rotation. And then Andrew Painter, this 19-year-old kid that certainly didn't come out of nowhere. But for any Phillies fan, and we've talked about this a lot during the week. For any Phillies fan, it certainly comes out of nowhere when it comes to a 19-year-old trying to crack your starting rotation. I feel like we're on the cusp of something great happening with this team again. Another special run. I'm not sure how it's going to end just yet. I think they're a legit contender to go to a World Series again. I mean, here's the thing. Even if you're evaluating other lineups, and you should, because that's called doing your homework, and you look at whether it's the Mets, and you look at their starting rotation, whatever it might be, the Phillies right now, you're talking about Wheeler, Nola, Suarez or Walker, and then whatever Andrew Painter turns out to be. Andrew Painter, I doubt it's going to happen in his first year, but he could also be someone special that's at least projected to be someone special like Zach Wheeler, or we have seen from Aaron Nola through huge stretches. Maybe better. And that's the starting that's your starting rotation? That's a hell of a start. Then you get to the bullpen and all the acquisitions you've made there. Then you get to this lineup. Oh, hey, Trey Turner, nice to see you. This is incredible. Right now, and we did it a lot going into the Eagles season. Right now, we looked at the Eagles season and we looked at the roster and we looked at the paper and we said, wow, if you're talking about a contending team, a Super Bowl contending team, this is what it looks like on paper. Now I get there on the field and see what happens. The Eagles certainly didn't disappoint. The Phillies didn't disappoint by season's end, obviously. I mean, yes, losing a World Series is disappointing, but at least with all the acquisitions you made and going over to luxury tax, first time you do that, you go over to luxury tax and you go to a World Series, that should be encouraging to go over to luxury tax again. And Dave Dombrowski, John Middleton addresses the team yesterday, as we heard from a mic'd up Garrett Stubbs yesterday. You have John Middleton addressing the team, pumping them up, getting them ready. That's awesome. Yeah, go ahead and get that trophy, please. And then you just think about how that paper looks so damn good with these names on it. And there's a name on that paper that's not even allowed to participate just yet or held back because of injury. And Bryce Harper. Yeah, a lot of good things can happen with this Phillies team, and I am here for it. Got to talk some football. Want to get into this here. We talked about Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is one of the guys going into the season that talked about how, oh, wow, look, it looks like we got an all-star team on paper, you know? Well, he wasn't wrong. I felt like this was odd, and I don't have a picture of it, but during the Sixers game last night, I get a notification pop up on my phone. So to set the scene, Miles Sanders put out that tweet, the Instagram post of how he loves Philly. He wants Philly to love him back. And he hopes that he can come back to Philadelphia. The Eagles, I thought this was odd timing. The Eagles last night put out a hype video. If you follow the Eagles on the Eagles app on your phone, they put out a Miles Sanders highlight video. I thought it was interesting timing because was that them showing the love? Is that the only love they're going to show Miles Sanders this offseason by reminding fans of how great a season he had? Philly, show me the love. Howie, show me the love. Well, here's the highlight reel of how great you were this year, and it'll be the last time we see you in an Eagles uniform. That was the thought. I was like, that's interesting timing there from the Eagles. That's all I have to say about that. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, about the great people at Steven Singer. Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. For over 40 years, Steven has been in the love business of Philadelphia, helping people fall in love and get engaged. So when it comes to that special someone in your life, do what I do, ladies and gentlemen. Hit up Steven Singer for that perfect gift. Dazzling diamonds at Steven Singer Jewelers. You'll get treated like a real family member at the other corner of 8th and Walnut by a real jewelry expert who's standing by to show you all the beautiful, dazzling diamonds that they have available. And at Steven Singer, you never have to worry about pressure, negotiating, haggling, or anything like that because everything's set at the perfect price. While other jewelers are marking things way up just to mark it down a little bit, make you feel like you won something, believe me, they're still making out. But at Steven Singer Jewelers, everything's set at the perfect price so you can walk in and just relax and be comfortable at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price. Online at IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. How about the amazing people at Manscaped? Manscaped.com. The leader in below-the-waist grooming. Joined 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with their skin-safe technology, whether it's their Platinum Package 4.0 that includes the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer or their Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. They come with skin-safe technology that helps reduce the risk of nicks so you can manscape with confidence and comfort. So check out manscaped.com. Use promo code FARZI for 20% off and free shipping. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. How about Freestone Farm CBD? FreestoneFarmCBD.com. Use promo code FARZI for 20% off. at freestonefarmcbd.com. You'll enjoy the tropical tasting Bay Ox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%, and Super CBD, which is half Hindu, Kush, and 21%. Genetics of these guys are off the charts. So check them out, ladies and gentlemen. Freestone Farm CBD, freestonefarmcbd.com. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportstation.com. Let's get to the chat check, see how you beautiful people are doing today. Sean Gillespie. It's not dry snitching. It's it's dry swinging. That reminds me. I don't know if you guys heard me tell this story on the radio some years ago. Here is my most infamous dry snitching story. Excuse my allergies today. A couple years ago, I bumped into somebody I went to high school with, a lovely young lady, and she introduced me to a guy. Oh, this is so-and-so. And I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. And then, like, I don't know, a couple months later, I'm at a Sixers game, and I bump into this same young lady with a very similar looking dude, at least. And she goes, oh, this is so-and-so. I go, oh, yeah, no, we met at the thing. It was the wrong guy. That is where I learned the term, because I told my dear friend Trey Thomas, that's where I learned the phrase dry snitching. He's like, you dry snitched? I'm like, what? What does that even mean? He's like, you just dry snitched. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, when you inadvertently out someone else, in this case, maybe a little affair, that's called dry snitching. And I'm like, goo, that sounds so terrible. And anyway, I think that relationship ended. So, yeah, that's dry snitching for all the kids that didn't know what dry snitching is. That's not what Bryce Harper is doing. He's dry swinging. Not to be confused with dry swinging, just to make that clear. Kevin, good morning, Kevin. What's going on? Marquise, what's going on, Marquise? Last night was definitely the best Sixers game of the season. Embiid just didn't deserve the MVP, but now Defensive Player of the Year after having 6 blocks. But that crazy one on Ja last night. Embiid was going off. That's James Harden. Sixers going to need to keep. Oh, that's the version of James Harden the Sixers need to have in the playoffs. Harden from last night against the Grizzlies had that double-double with clutch shots being made. He was money, Marquise. He was absolute money. Sean, good morning to you as well. Jeff, what's going on? Game of 2 halves. Great finish. Memphis had a young team. Great defense. They couldn't close it out. Maybe that is the boost the Sixers team needs to take it to the next level. Maybe it'll be a nice little boost for them to get by the Celtics finally. Sixers with a home game. Better win that. Marquise, what's going on? I can finally credit Tobias Harris. Yes, we can. Fuji. What's popping, Fuji? What's going on? The commentary was legendary. Marquise, it was. Don't jump with me. How'd that go? Says PJ. Doc Rivers is trying his Homer Simpson type of reverse psychology. Maybe. Bobby D. What's up, Bobby D? I hope Reese Hoskins gets an extension. He deserves it after all that postseason drama and being such a pro. Here's where I am at Reese Hoskins. He's insanely streaky. If you could get a Gold Glove first baseman that can hit, 270 with 25, 30 home runs, okay, go find him. As long as he's a Gold Glover. April, dry swinging? Yes. Mihai, what's up, Mihai? Morning, Mark, and everyone. Someone other than Embiid leading the Sixers in scoring in a game. Harden better ball out in the playoffs, though. I like that we're 25 games now removed from the playoffs. We got 25 games to get through before the playoffs, but all of us are already in the playoffs. You know what? It's fair. It's fair because what am I going to do? Like, what's the other way to look at it? Like, I have heard it for like one or two of my friends. Like, it's not even the playoffs yet. Why are you even talking about it? I'm like, because we've seen the movie before. We know the ending. But we're going to see the third installment of the trilogy, and we're hoping it's a little different. That's what it is. We're hoping it's not a second-round exit. So whether it's the Boston Celtics you're losing in the second round to by Andre Iguodala, or it's Kawhi Leonard with a quadruple doink knocking you out of the second round of the playoffs, or it's, good God, Ben Simmons passed to Thibault in another Game 7, or it's the Miami Heat saying, yeah, adios, whatever it is. We've seen the ending of the movie many times, and the end of the movie is the second round of the playoffs. I'm going to go ahead and hope before the end of the movie rolls around, and also try to build up hope through the end of the season that end of the movie is going to change with maybe at least a conference finals appearance. I think it's only right. I think it's only fair. Yeah, I want to get excited and make sure that we can, or not make sure, but the Sixers give us every ounce of confidence that this is going to be a different ending to the story. So, yeah, I think it's fair that we're looking at the playoffs already. Mihai morning said, oh, PJ, I did see that. Anyone else see the debacle of MLB's top 100 ratings? Bobby D, are you watching it now? Harper is 17. A two-time MVP, 17? Odd. And Hoskins made the top 100. As long as it's not dry snitching. Sean, thank you. Not the MLB, not in the MLB world. Bobby D, I agree. Mihai Sanchez, Phillies have enough depth to be a great position before Harper returns. They do, no excuses. Let's comfortably make the playoffs, contend for the NL East title, and win it. Win it all this fall. Have a great weekend. Mihai, same to you. Thank you. Bobby D, Painter, can't wait to watch him. Mets pitching is just old guys. That's the way I interpret that, Bobby D. Thank you. PJ, is that 35 days till opening day? Is that what you're giving me? Cole Hamels' number? You slick bastard, you. April 6th for Cincy. Bobby D's got it. Hey, Alyssa! Hey, Alyssa. Man, yesterday we had Tyvita back. Now we got Alyssa back. Oh, this is just lovely. What's going on, Alyssa? Glad you're surviving the school year. Teachers are talking. April and Alyssa. Excuse me. April to Alyssa. Miss Cusi. April, barely, but I am. That's nice. That's great. April, not a teacher. Alyssa, a teacher. So there you go. Thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are great as per usual. Let's get to our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars. SkyMotorcars.com. Flyers, after a disappointing loss to the Edmonton Oilers, they return home tonight to take on the Montreal Canadiens. 7 o'clock puck drop, South Philadelphia. Let's hope the Flyers are able to get their 24th win of the season. That'd be great. And I mentioned it already. The 76ers play host to the Celtics tomorrow night for a Saturday night, 8:30 tip-off in South Philly. Can't wait for that. Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, amongst the top scorers in the NBA. Joel Embiid with 33 points per game. Jason Tatum with 30 points per game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. That's the Farzy Show, presented by Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price, the perfect price online at IHateStevenSinger.com. Thanks, everybody. On the way out, why not? Just one more time, and I'll sign off after this, PJ. But I just one more time. Let's watch.
It's Durant exploding, going up, net in mid-flight by Embiid, picked up by Tillman.
It's just so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be back with you guys on Monday morning. I'll talk to you guys then. Have a great weekend. Go Sixers. Go Flyers, as a matter of fact, as well. And Union, too. Unioner on the pitch this weekend. Jim Hyder produced the program. Did a wonderful job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzad. Have a great weekend, everybody. See ya.